New tonight on KGW News, why the widow of a Vancouver police officer killed outside his own home is now suing the deputy that shot him. Also tonight,
this is a small town. People don't do this out here.
With questions around who dropped spikes on some Clark County roads, complete with a symbol of hate and a name. Plus, sticking snow and potentially ice, the timing later this week as the cold settles in. And later, why a move by the Blazers to recapture their winning streak ended a little rough for Rip City. Good evening, everyone. David Molko with you on this Monday night, where we're seeing temperatures drop and cold weather shelters open. Right now it is 33 degrees in the Rose City as we track the potential for snow and even ice that could fall on the valley floor, and all before the end of the week. So let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino tracking all of that in your first forecast. Hi, Matt.
Hey, David. Yes, it is getting colder by the minute out there. We're going to drop down to the low 20s by tomorrow morning, about 23, 24, and then knock it out of the 30s. The next couple of days, sunny, but that east wind is really going to ramp up later on tomorrow afternoon, right on through Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday, those are the weather impact alert days. Expect snow to begin sometime during the day on Thursday. Probably midday or so. We'll have a better idea as we get closer to it, really by tomorrow and into Wednesday. We'll be able to nail down the timing better. It'll end sometime on Friday. Question is when and how much ice, if any, we'll get before that happens. It could end up just being snow and no ice, or a little bit of ice. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. Going to the weekend, things should begin to warm up. Timberline right now, though, it was snowing up there earlier. I'll show you that later. Look at this. It's 10 degrees. Now, at the moment, the wind is calm, but it won't stay that way. So we're looking at dangerous wind chills in the Cascades and in the Gorge. Look at the winds in the Gorge, already gusting over 40 miles an hour at Crown Point. Portland right now, we're at 33, and there's an east wind out there. You can feel it up in the West Hills. You can feel it out in East County, obviously. An extreme cold watch in the blue area, a cold weather advisory in the white areas because of these cold mornings coming up tomorrow morning and again on Wednesday morning. Then we talk about the snow Thursday and Friday. We'll see slick roads. Everything's going to freeze, so you need to be ready to have to stay at home later Thursday and into Friday. We'll let you know what the odds are on that and take a look at some of the amounts in a bit. Back to you.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy week. Thank you, Matt. Meanwhile, Multnomah County is now under a state of emergency due to those below freezing temperatures. The county opened 3 warming shelters at 8 tonight, and they will stay open through noon tomorrow. Washington County also has opened 2 warming shelters. A reminder, if you or anyone you know needs information or a ride to a warming shelter, the number to call is 211. Stay with KGW for continuing coverage of both the extreme cold and as we track the chances of snow and ice later this week. Look for the latest on air, plus anytime on KGW.com and, of course, on our streaming app. That is KGW+. New tonight, the widow of Donald Sahota, the off-duty Vancouver police officer shot and killed outside his battleground home in 2022, and what was a case of mistaken identity, is now suing the deputy who shot him, along with Clark County. Alma McCarty's in the newsroom with details on that wrongful death lawsuit. Alma?
David, the lawsuit against both, Clark County and Deputy Jonathan Feller alleges negligence, excessive force, and the failure to properly train and even retrain Feller after his involvement in another deadly shooting 15 months prior to Officer Sahota's death.
On January 29th, 2022, Clark County deputies chased an armed robbery suspect from Orchards to Battleground.
This person's now running towards the residence there off of 84th.
That suspect, Julio Segura, approached the home of Donald Sahota, a Vancouver police officer with more than 20 years' experience. Their aerial video showed the two struggle outside in the driveway as Sahota's wife called 911. The suspect broke away and ran for the front door, with the off-duty officer following behind. But as Sahota was pursuing Segura, Deputy Jonathan Feller arrived in his SUV and 4 seconds later fired 4 rounds, hitting Sahota in the back.
Attempting to elude a police vehicle.
Last summer, Segura was sentenced to 29 years in prison after a jury convicted him for the murder of Officer Sahota. Sahota's widow said this during his sentencing.
I feel like my heart has been ripped out of my chest. I'm shattered, lost. The defendant not only took away my person, the love of my life, my everything, but also he took my home, my peace, my identity, my sense of place, my purpose.
Deputy Feller, however, did not face criminal charges. Now, 3 years after the tragic deadly shooting, Officer Sahoda's widow filed a lawsuit in federal court, saying the deputy acted rashly and negligently. His actions trigger-happy. In it, the plaintiff alleges numerous failures by Deputy Feller. Failure to identify the suspect, failure to assess the situation, failure to identify himself as law enforcement, and failure to give proper warning before using deadly force. The lawsuit also alleges that the county failed to discipline or retrain Deputy Feller, even after his involvement in a fatal shooting prior, that of Kevin Peterson Jr. in 2020. One of the attorneys for Donnie Sahoda wrote in a statement, Officer Donald Sahoda lost his life due to the negligence of a Clark County employee. We are confident the county will accept responsibility and do right by Officer Sahoda's family.
We reached out to the county and to the deputy. The county responded, saying they do not comment on pending litigation. We have not yet heard back from the attorneys representing Deputy Feller. David?
Thanks, Alma. Appreciate your reporting on that difficult story there. Also in Clark County, authorities are looking for the person who's been leaving spikes made of scrap wood and nails along streets in Yakult. The mayor says the spikes were found in different neighborhoods last week. All have a swastika handwritten on them, along with the name Kent. Now, that could be a reference to former congressional candidate Joe Kent, who lives there and whom President Trump recently nominated to lead the National Counterterrorism Center. It does not appear anyone has been injured or vehicles damaged, but the mayor tells us he'd like to get to the bottom of it.
The biggest concern is that somebody that's either in the community or outside of the community thinks it's okay to put harmful spikes where people are walking their dogs, their kids are riding their bikes, they're playing. That's not okay. It's not okay to put something out there that's going to hurt somebody.
A former spokesperson for Joe Kent tells us Kent is unable to comment since he's in D.C. for his confirmation hearings. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, Tigard police say 4 people are under arrest in connection with nearly 40 home burglaries. Authorities say their 5-month investigation into the break-ins, largely of Asian American-owned homes in Washington County, eventually led to 4 suspects in Bend. They say they recovered stolen cash, jewelry, and seized several vehicles.
You don't get wins a lot when it comes to investigating something like a series of home burglaries, but we would consider this a win.
Police say they are working to return any stolen items recovered to their owners. All 4 suspects have been extradited to Washington County and are set to appear in court on Wednesday. New at 11, police have arrested 29 people as part of a retail theft mission in southeast Portland. This was last Thursday in the Mall 205 and Gateway areas. This is a photo of one of the suspects and what appears to be packs and packs of batteries, along with what authorities say is more than $650 in stolen merchandise. Investigators say they also recovered 3 stolen vehicles. And a federal judge has temporarily halted a move by the Trump administration to cut billions in medical research funding provided by the National Institutes of Health, or NIH. That is after Oregon and Washington joined more than a dozen other states in a lawsuit that argues the move would halt research into diseases and cut funding that was already committed. More than $400 million in NIH-funded projects are underway in Oregon, supporting around 5,000 jobs. Today's ruling pauses those cuts, pending a hearing scheduled for later this month. As the Providence nurses' strike stretches into week 5 now, a new bill in Salem aims to force Oregon hospitals to disclose how much they pay replacement workers while their staff is on the picket lines. Catherine Cook looked into why some are questioning the timing.
Thank you, Chair Munoz. Vice Chair.
Striking nurses filled Hearing Room D at the Oregon State Capitol. They came to support House Bill 2792. The legislation is designed to force hospitals to publicly disclose how much they pay replacement workers during a strike. Providence is currently paying thousands of replacement nurses as the medical group enters week 5 of strike negotiations with the Oregon Nurses Association. Providence will not disclose how much those workers are costing them to the public or to KGW. ONA doesn't like that.
This bill is about ensuring that Oregon's hospitals are upholding their obligations as public serving institutions.
Quick pause here. She said public serving institution. That's different than a public institution. Many hospitals, including Providence, are privately owned and under no obligation to disclose such things.
This bill is about ensuring that we, as a state, are not allowing our healthcare systems to be manipulated into a tool for union busting behind financial secrecy.
But is this bill simply a tool for striking union workers? The Hospital Association of Oregon seems to think so.
We've had other bills and other conversations around transparency. This bill doesn't accomplish that. This is a negotiating tool.
I started working on this bill before the Providence strike even happened.
Representative Travis Nelson, also a registered nurse, introduced the bill. For him, it's about transparency. He says from where the institution gets its funding is more important than whether it's public or private regarding this kind of disclosure.
Our state spends a tremendous amount of public dollars on Medicaid, a huge chunk of which goes to our hospitals. And so if hospitals are going to take that much in public dollars that you and I work hard for, then they should have to tell us where they're spending that money.
Most hospitals do disclose their financials, including Providence. You can look them up online. But this bill is asking for a single line item for strike replacements. And for some lawmakers listening to both sides, that points back to the strike.
I'm a fan of nursing, but it's a negotiation. So negotiate. But I don't know what this bill does, and I still don't know how this helps put our frontline workers back to work so that then the hospital can save money, because it is extremely expensive when we strike.
It's now up to the chair of the House Committee of Labor and Workplace Standards to call a vote on the bill. If that happens and it makes it through, the next step is the House floor. In Salem, Catherine Cook, KGW News.